The first click of the camera wasn't hers. But the laughter that followed, that was all Elena. Her cousin Mia had begged her last minute, "Please, cover the photography booth for me. I can't make it tonight. It's just pressing a button, nothing hard." Elena had never even held a professional camera before, but she couldn't say no. Mia had helped her so many times during her toughest years, and this was her chance to return the kindness. So, dressed simply in a borrowed black dress, Elena stepped behind the lens at a stranger's wedding. At first, she fumbled. She was nervous, cheeks flushing as guests asked her to capture their smiles. But then something shifted. She started talking to them, complimenting a dress, cracking a small joke, coaxing a shy child into grinning wide. Suddenly, it wasn't about photography anymore, it was about people. And that was where Elena shined. That's when he walked in. Tall, confident, but with eyes that carried a weight, Daniel Hayes. A successful CEO everyone seemed to recognize, but all Elena saw was the little girl clutching his hand. His daughter, Sophie, no older than 6, who looked like she hadn't smiled in a long time. "Just one quick picture," Daniel said politely, crouching next to his daughter. Sophie's arms stayed folded. Her gaze stayed fixed on the floor. Elena knelt down, lowering the camera. "You know," she whispered to Sophie, "this camera doesn't just take pictures. It captures secrets. Like if you smile, just a tiny one, it might trap your happiness inside so you can keep it forever." Sophie peeked up, curious. Elena didn't push. Instead, she made a silly face, crossed eyes, puffed cheeks. And there it was. A small, reluctant giggle. Elena caught it instantly with the camera. Daniel's breath caught. It was the first time in months he'd seen that smile. Throughout the night, Sophie kept returning to the booth, asking Elena to take more magic pictures. Daniel stayed close, watching the way Elena knelt to children's height, encouraged shy teenagers, and treated elderly guests with such gentle patience. She wasn't just clicking pictures, she was capturing hearts. But the twist came when Daniel asked for her card. Elena froze. I don't have one," she stammered. "This isn't my booth. I'm just filling in." Daniel looked surprised. "You're not the photographer?" Elena shook her head, embarrassed. "No. I just didn't want to leave my cousin in trouble." Daniel smiled for the first time that night, not the polite CEO smile people knew, but a real one. "Then I suppose I owe your cousin a thank you. Otherwise, I never would have met the woman who reminded my daughter how to smile." The words stunned her. She hadn't realized her small act of kindness, just showing up, just caring, could mean so much. Weeks later, when Sophie begged her dad to invite the magic picture lady to her birthday, Daniel didn't hesitate. And slowly, what began as a chance replacement at a wedding booth turned into something more. A friendship, a bond, and maybe, just maybe, a second chance at love. Elena had stepped into that wedding thinking she was doing a favor. She walked out having changed a little girl's world. And perhaps, her own. Because sometimes, the greatest stories begin when you least expect them, and the smallest acts of kindness open doors you never imagined. This story reminds us that selflessness, whether standing in for someone or simply choosing kindness, can spark life-changing connections. You never know whose heart you might touch with one small act. The night air outside the wedding hall was cool when Elena finally stepped out, clutching the camera she was supposed to return to her cousin later. She took a deep breath, still replaying the image of Sophie's sudden laughter, the sparkle in her little eyes, and the warmth in Daniel's expression. She told herself it was just a moment, nothing more. Tomorrow she would go back to her ordinary life, working long shifts at the small cafe downtown, trying to save enough money to pay off her student loans, trying to keep her world steady. But some moments refused to fade. The following week, Mia called her in disbelief. "Elena, you won't believe this. The wedding couple called me, and they said their favorite pictures weren't mine, they were yours. They kept asking for you. Elena laughed nervously. That can't be right. I didn't even know what I was doing. Maybe not with the camera, Mia teased, but you knew exactly what you were doing with people. It should have ended there. Except 2 days later, the cafe door chimed, and when Elena looked up from wiping the counter, there he was. Daniel Hayes, in a sharp suit, looking completely out of place in her little corner coffee shop. And beside him, Sophie, holding a small envelope decorated with stickers.